and thank you so much for joining me during this Sagittarius new moon. Sagittarius is a fire sign that really encourages us to explore, to adventure, and to challenge ourselves, knowing that through those challenging situations, there is going to be a lot of growth. So this could be a really great time for you to start doing some of those things that you've been putting off because they felt really challenging, especially if they're challenging because of limiting beliefs that you may have. Sagittarius really wants us to get to know our inner truth. And usually the limiting beliefs that we have are lies. And the way that we find our inner truth, our personal truth, is through mindfulness. So that could be something like going out in nature and just observing what you see and starting to kind of quiet your mind, the chatter, and get down to the root. It could also be something more structured like this practice where I will guide you through mindful movement and mindful breathing. So energetically, our center is right at the heart space between the lower 3 chakras and the higher 3 chakras. And the heart space is said to be where our true self lives. And in this practice, we are going to connect with the attributes of the energetic heart center, which include things like love and courage and abundance and gratitude. So we'll be doing some longer held poses that help to stretch and open up the chest around the heart center. And then we'll also focus on the hips and the hamstrings because Sagittarius rules the lower body as kind of a symbol to have that strength and stability and mobility in the lower body to take us on all of these great adventures, but also to have balance there so that we feel grounded and steady through the change that we go through that naturally happens with growth. So we are going to use a strap for this practice. And if you don't have a strap, you could use something around the house like a belt or a towel instead. And we'll use that right away. And if you, and we'll also be using a bolster and some blocks to do a supported fish pose later on in the practice. So again, if you don't have bolsters, blocks, you could also use a folded blanket, you could use some pillows or anything else that you think might work around your house. So when you are ready, we will come onto our backs and have your strap close by before you lay down. Then once you're on your back, reach your arms up overhead, take a full body stretch and a deep breath in. With your exhale, lower your arms down beside your hips. And start to bend your knees, bringing your feet flat on the mat. Bring your knees into your belly and make some circles to massage your low back. Go a few times in the other direction. Then lower your feet down to the floor. And lift your right leg up to the ceiling. Start to point and flex your ankle a few times. And make some circles with your ankle in one direction. And then circle it a few times in the other direction. And just bend and straighten your knee a few times. And when you're ready, take the strap and hook it around the bottom of your right foot. And lift your right leg back up to the ceiling. And you can choose to keep your left leg bent, or you can slowly start to straighten your left leg. And notice how that feels in the back of the right leg. And if it starts to feel like too much of a pull, you can always rebend your left knee. And we'll bend and straighten the right knee a few times, hugging your knee into your belly, using the strap to really gently pull it in, and then pressing your heel up to the ceiling. Start to connect your breath with that movement. As you inhale, bending your knee, hugging it in, and as you exhale, lengthening the back of the leg. Deep breath in, and deep breath out. One more time like that. Then hold your leg towards straight. See if you can soften your grip on the strap a little bit. So maybe you slide your hands down so that your elbows are resting on the mat, and just let the weight of your arms be enough to hold your leg in place. And close your eyes for a moment and scan the back of the right leg. Notice how it feels down by the glutes, behind the knee, in the calf, around the ankle, into the foot. And wherever you notice the most sensation in the back of your right leg, try to send your breath, your next inhale, to that space. Really deep breath in. And as you exhale, see if you can relax that space. Do that 2 more times. Start to take both sides of the strap together. Bring your right hand up high and your left hand down low. And start to guide your leg over to the right side. I'm going to scoot a little bit away from the wall here. And see how it feels. Again, you can play around with some different options. So if dropping it straight out to the side where it was lifted to the ceiling doesn't feel good, you can release the strap a little bit, slide your hand away from your foot and lower it down. Your leg could also land on a block or a bolster for a little extra support, which can feel really nice, especially if you're feeling a lot of gripping and having a hard time relaxing around the hip. Add that little bit of support to signal to your body that it's safe to relax, it's okay to let go. You have some support. Then close your eyes again and scan the back of the right leg. Notice how it feels. And send 2 really deep breaths to the space where you feel the most sensation. Try to relax and let go of any tension as you exhale. And slowly start to lift your leg back up through center. And then take your right hand down low and your left hand up high. Guide your leg just a little bit across your body. And gently pull it towards you. So the right side of the low back is still down on the ground. Notice how this feels around the right leg and the right hip. Take 2 more really deep breaths. Notice what happens with your deep exhale. Does your leg relax a little bit more? Do you go deeper into the stretch? Does the rest of your body relax? And then with your next inhale, lift your leg back up to center. From here, we'll simply switch sides. So you can float your left leg up into the strap. Or actually, let's start with our ankle stretches. So remove the strap for a moment. Left leg lifted, right foot can plant firmly on the ground, and then point and flex your ankle a few times. And make some circles with your ankle in one direction, and then circle it a few times in the other direction. Then bend and straighten your knee. And now we'll take the strap, hooking it around the bottom of the left foot. Lifting left leg back up to the ceiling. Right knee can stay bent, or you can lengthen your right leg on the mat. See how it feels. Notice the difference in the back of the left leg. And then start to bend your left knee and gently pull it in using the strap. And press your heel up to the sky. Inhale as you bend your knee, and exhale as you bring your leg towards straight. Slow breath in and slow breath out. One more time. Inhale and exhale. Then hold your leg lifted and relax your grip a little bit on the strap. Maybe slide your hands down so that your elbows touch the ground and the shoulders can relax. It doesn't have to be the deepest stretch. In fact, it's usually better if it's really subtle and you ease your way into it. So again, as we hold here, close your eyes and start to feel the back of the left leg. Notice how it feels down towards the glutes. Is there any gripping there? And try to relax the glutes. Notice how it feels behind the knee, around the calf, the ankle, into the foot. And wherever you felt the most sensation, take a few deep breaths. Imagine your breath, maybe even visualize your breath coming in through your nose and all the way down to your left leg. And as you exhale, a release happens as the tension softens. One more big breath in and deep breath out. And take both sides of the strap together. The right hand down low, left hand up high, and guide your leg, opening it up to the left side. And again, you might lower your leg down a little bit. Maybe it lands on a block or a bolster or a pillow. And try to relax around your left hip. One more big breath. Then lift your leg back up through center. Taking your right hand up high on the strap, slide your left hand down low and guide your leg a little bit across your body, keeping the left side of your low back down on the mat. And gently encourage your leg closer towards you. You can have a micro bend in your knee. It doesn't have to be all the way straight. Maybe play with that and see how it feels. Trying different things out. Being curious. And then breathe into the stretch. Notice if there's any tension around your shoulders, your jaw, or your face, and see if you can relax there. And lift your leg back up through center. Okay, now we'll slide both feet up into the strap. And take your feet out really, really wide. Maybe you hold this straddle position, or you can bend the knees coming into a happy baby pose. Or you can alternate between the two, bending one knee, straightening one leg, and then the other. It might feel nice to rock your hips a little bit from side to side. Again, exploring any movement that feels good for you. Having a little bit of that adventure spirit and not just sticking to doing the same thing every time. And when you're ready, you can release the strap, maybe sliding your feet towards each other first. Remove the strap. And we won't use it anymore unless you want it, so you can set it off to the side. And then start to either rock and roll up or roll onto one side and press yourself up. And we'll come around to the top of the mat. Coming into tabletop. Hands, wrists under your shoulders, knees under your hips. Take a few rounds of cat and cow. As you inhale, stretching around your chest and your belly. And as you exhale, push the floor away, round your back. Deep breath in. And deep breath out. Okay, take one more round of cat and cow. And then start to lower your forearms down, walk your knees back, lowering all the way down onto your belly. Coming into Sphinx pose, we're going to keep the forearms down. And your hands can be together, or your forearms can be in line with your elbows. Whatever feels good for you. The elbows can move a little bit away from you towards the top of the mat for less of a lift. Or the elbows can walk back closer towards your chest for more of a lift, and you'll feel more in the low back, more of a back bend feeling. But either way, we're focusing here on the heart center. So we'll keep that space open. Maybe a little lift of the chin, feeling the chest open. And feeling the stretch in the front of the chest, around the front of the rib cage, and the front of the belly. Relax your feet, your ankles, the legs, the hips, the low back, and the upper back and shoulders, around the throat, Soften the muscles of your face. We'll find a little bit more silence as we hold here. So continue to focus on your breath. Just observe your breath as it flows in and out through your nose. And see if you can deepen every inhale and every exhale to be just a little bit longer than the one before. Take one more deep breath here. And start to relax all the way down to your belly. From here, we'll come into half frog pose. So you can rest your left cheek down on the mat or any position that's comfortable for your head and your hands. I'm going to prop my head up just a little bit for my microphone. And then you'll slide your right knee on the ground so that it's about hip height, coming into a half frog position. With the head relaxed down to the ground, feel your body becoming heavier with every exhale that you take. And slowly start to extend your right leg back. You might scoot a little bit to the right side of your mat. Lift your head up and turn to rest your right cheek down. Then slide your left knee up to about hip height, coming into half frog on the other side. Notice what happens to your thoughts as we start to find more stillness and silence. Oftentimes, that's the most challenging part of a practice like this. If you find that your mind starts to wander to things of the past or worrying about the future, just continue to guide your thoughts back to something that anchors you into this moment. So that might be focusing on your breath, or might be focusing on the sensations that you feel. It could be focusing on the things that you hear, anything happening right now. And slowly start to slide your left leg back. Slide your hands underneath your shoulders. Press yourself back up through a tabletop position. Then we'll come into child's pose next. So if you'd like, you could add a little extra cushion under your knees first. Taking a moment to set yourself up for success so that it's comfortable enough to stay for a few minutes. And then you bring your big toes to touch, and your knees can be close together or they can be wide apart, depending on how it feels for you. The wider the knees, the more intense it'll feel around the hips. So find your sweet spot where it's not too intense, but you feel a little bit of sensation. Having the knees closer together will also get more into your back. So that might feel good as well. And then you could lower your head, your arms straight down to the mat. Or you can add some support with a bolster or a bolster and blocks. Laying down on the bolster, resting one cheek. Or building a ramp with the bolster and the blocks. For a little more lift. So find the position that feels best for you, and then settle in. And if you'd like to have your head turned to one side, I'll let you know when we're halfway through so that you can turn your head to the other side. As we hold this child's pose, bring your awareness to the parts of your body that are making contact with the ground or the support beneath you, the bolster, the blocks. Just feel where your body touches the support. And with your exhales, allow yourself to soften down towards the ground, into the support. feeling a sense of safety and stability, knowing that it's always available to you. When you do go out and challenge yourself and grow and change, you can always come back to this safety that lies within yourself. We're halfway through. If you'd like to turn your head to the other side. Relaxing your left cheek down. Take one more deep breath here. And gently start to press yourself up. Moving the props out of the way. We're going to make our way into a half butterfly pose. Swinging your legs out in front of you. Bend your right knee and extend your left leg long. It can be a little bit out to the left side, or it can be really wide to the left side, or it can be straight in front. Anything in between is perfect here. And then some people like to fold over the extended leg. You could also fold through center. You can have a soft bend of your left knee. You can just have your hands down on the ground, or maybe your forearms rest on the ground or on the blocks. Or you could slide the bolster underneath your chest, or build some support with the blocks and the bolster. So feel free to get creative with how you use your props. You can let your head and your neck relax. You can let your spine round, not worrying so much about the shape of the pose, but instead focusing on how it feels. Feel free to explore how it feels to move a little bit, maybe rocking your torso away from your leg or closer to your leg. Or exploring again how it feels to fold over the leg or fold through center. And gently start to press hands down into the mat, lift your torso back up. And before we take it on the other side, maybe extend both legs for a moment, kind of bounce the knees or rock the hips from side to side. And then when you're ready, bend your left knee, take your right leg anywhere between straight in front or out to the right side, anywhere in between. And then start to fold forward. Notice how it feels around the right leg as you hinge forward, and find your sweet spot. Bringing hands down, forearms down. Maybe it's the same support that you used on the other side. Maybe this leg needs something different. And take one more deep breath here. Then press yourself back up. Move the props out of the way as you bring your legs in front of you. Move the ankles, the knees, the hips. And from here, we're going to set up for a supported fish pose. So we'll take either just the bolster or the bolster and the blocks to build some support to lay back on. So if you have a really big bolster like this, it might feel good just to lay back without propping it up. So you'll lay the bolster parallel to the mat, and then bring the base of the bolster up to your low back and lay back with the arms opening out to the side. You could also prop your hips up a little bit with a folded blanket if it feels like too deep of a back bend in the low back. So we want to focus more on the upper back and around the chest and the shoulders. So you can see how that feels with just a bolster, just a blanket. Or you could prop this up with blocks, one on the lowest setting, maybe one on the medium setting or on the high setting. Or you might need to switch it so the one's on the medium setting, one's on the high setting. And then lower the bolster down. Bring your low back up against the base of the bolster and lay back. Opening up the chest. You could also do this just laying back on the blocks in the same position, one under your shoulders and one under your head. If you want a little more support for your low back here, you can keep your knees bent And I like to kind of take my feet wide and let the knees knock in towards each other so that the low back is gently pressing down towards the ground, opening up space there. But feel free to extend your legs as well. Or if you want a little more into your hips, you can bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees drop out to the side. Maybe there's some support underneath the knees as well, if you have some extra blocks laying around or blankets. And as we hold here in this supported heart opening position, take a deep breath in through your nose and down to your heart center, the space in the center of your chest. And as you exhale, visualize light shining out in all directions. Inhale, bright light coming in through your nose and down to your heart, to your chest. And exhale, that light shining out in all directions. You can release that visualization whenever it feels right for you. And for the last few moments here, just relax. And slowly begin to press yourself back up. We'll come into our final resting pose. So that can be laying down on your back in Shavasana, or I'll invite you to take legs up the wall as the last pose here. So if you have wall space, you can use that. If you don't have wall space, but you have the blocks and the bolsters, I'll show what that looks like as well. You can take the blocks on the highest setting and then place the bolster on top, making sure the blocks are close enough that the bolster doesn't collapse in the center, but wide enough that the outer edges, the sides, are supported. Then you'll lay down on your back and rest your legs on the bolster, your lower legs, your calves. So that's one option. Another option, if you don't have a bolster, maybe you just have a block, You can place that underneath your low back, laying down on your back, lifting your hips up into a bridge pose, lowering your low back on the block, and then floating your legs up in the air. Then I like to tilt the block a little bit towards me so that there's a smooth edge to rest the low back and sacrum on. You could also use the bolster underneath the low back here instead of the block. And then the last option, if you have the wall space, you can slide up against the wall and lift the legs up, either with or without support under your low back. So maybe you take the bolster and prop your hips up. This bolster's a little on the big side. Lifting your legs up. Let's see here. Coming into the legs up the wall first maybe, and slide the bolster under. There we go. And then relaxing legs. Yeah, this bolster is just a little bit too big for me here. So I'm gonna lower down. And you can be closer to the wall or further away from the wall, depending on how it feels for the back of your legs. And then relax here, wherever you're at. Taking some of the weight off of your feet, off of your legs, giving them some rest to find the balance. Now that we've been here for a few moments, notice how it feels in your feet. The reverse flow of energy down towards your heart. Start to bring your awareness back to your breath by taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. blink your eyes open if they're closed. And slowly bend your knees if your legs are up on the wall. Make your way around to a seated position. We'll pause here for just one more moment. Any comfortable seat. Reaching your arms out to the side and up with your inhale and exhale. Bring your hands down to your heart, placing left hand over your heart and right hand over your left hand. Feeling your heartbeat. And feeling a sense of gratitude. Just name a few things that you're feeling grateful for right now. Allowing the heart space to open up. And then begin to relax your arms down, blink your eyes open. And I'm going to come up closer so we can talk a little bit about some journal prompts. So now that you are feeling really centered, you're feeling connected to the grounding and supportive energy of your legs, as well as the expansive, loving energy of the heart center. It's a really great time under this Sagittarius new moon to reflect on some of the qualities that Sagittarius is inviting us to explore right now. So the journal prompts, you can find them down in the description below. The first one is, what new horizons am I ready to explore in my life? So again, maybe there are some challenging things that you've been putting off that are going to support you towards your dreams or your goals in the future. This is a really great time to start those things, to challenge yourself and to go for those big dreams that you have. And the second question is, how can I ground myself while moving toward my dreams? So whenever we experience a lot of growth, there is a lot of change, and change can be really difficult and kind of shake up our lower chakras that keep us feeling secure and steady, that feeling of safety and stability. So it can be really important to come back to practices like this where you find your center, you feel grounded, you take a moment to pause, you take a moment to be in nature and to support yourself through that growth and through that expansion. And then the third question is, what fears or limiting beliefs am I ready to release to expand my potential? So fear and these limiting beliefs, sometimes they come up as thinking like we aren't good enough or we can't do something. And this is often not actually true. It's usually a lie that we have started to tell ourselves based on maybe things that we hear around us or the way that we grew up or a number of reasons, just the way that society believes and is structured. And so it's important to kind of find your own truth and get rid of those limiting beliefs. But first we have to acknowledge like what those things are. And again, slowing down can be a great way to do that. And then fears are also kind of limiting beliefs. We aren't usually, I don't think we're really born with a lot of fears. We kind of pick up on cues from the people that we grew up around on how to respond to things, what things we should be afraid of. And so that might not actually be a reason to be afraid of something. So if you are feeling afraid of something, maybe there's no need to be afraid of it. So kind of acknowledging those things, and then what action steps can you take to challenge yourself to face those fears, to move past those fears, to change the limiting beliefs and find your own truth. So I hope that this practice felt nourishing to you and that you have this solid foundation to move forward with your big dreams this month and this moon cycle. And if you enjoyed this practice, please like the video and subscribe to be notified for classes that happen every full moon and every new moon. And if you want even more, feel free to visit my website, moonphaseyoga.com. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you next time.